Hey, what is up, everyone? This is Juicy Hockey with Gordo, and I am your host, Gordon Maxwell. Today, we're going to be recapping the Colorado Avalanche getting back into the series, last night's game. An incredible feat that's never been done in Canadian Hockey League history, the juiciest rumors, and tonight's matchups. Okay, let's get to it. The first matchup. The only game that we saw last night on television was the Colorado Avalanche and the Dallas Stars. Dallas Stars, we all know that was, supposed to be their time to get to the conference finals for the first time in a few years. But little did they know they had the first goal. It was a back and forth game, but until the third period, until the second or third period, it was a game changer for the whole entire series. Like last night, let's put it this way. That right there, the buzzer beater by Colorado changed the game, and Cal McCarr stepped up real well. He was a very bad -3, and his plus minus was insane. And Devin Taves played well, and Cal McCarr had 5 shots on goal, 2 goals. He was the difference maker. Terry Lincoln and Nathan McKinnon, huge step up, each a goal and an apple. Zach Parise, Mikko Rantanen as well, helper. Casey Middlestad as well. And I'll say this. They got out of there, and I'll tell you, the home team have struggled to close it out in the second round. I mean, have you seen the records in 57 games? There's been a total that 34 out of 57 have won the home games. A lot of home teams struggle. They hate the pressure. 40% of the time, the road team or the home team wins games. Road team dominates. It's the playoffs. Home ice doesn't matter. Who cares? Like I said, Pavelski got a good one in there. Maris Heiskanen, he's very underrated, very undervaluable. He played a tremendous game. The goaltenders, their save percentages were not too sexy, but the Avalanche flooded the Stars in the third period. It was a close, classic first 2 periods, but the third period, Colorado took control. And I believe this is a series, but we're going to see a very controversial thing because everybody expected this was going to be a done series last night, but we were wrong. We were absolutely wrong right here. But are we going to see Dallas? We're seeing, tonight could be very interesting with the other 2 games, but Dallas could have had a very perfect opportunity to close out, but they blew that opportunity. They blew it. Can they close out game 6? We'll have to see tomorrow night. We have to see tomorrow night. And, I wouldn't be surprised that we would see possibly all 4 games. I wouldn't be surprised that all the road team wins tonight's 2 games and the following night's games tomorrow night. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, the stats it's crazy. 40% of the time, the home team wins. 60% of the time, the away team wins. It's crazy math. And like I said before, and I say it again, what happens, it doesn't matter who wins. It's basically who plays better. It just sucks that the home team can't close it out. But like I said, the Colorado Avalanche, they clawed their way back, and this is a series, and nobody wants a gentleman's sweep. Every game from here on out for the rest of the second round is all game 6s. And I'll say this right here, we got 2 doubleheaders. We got a doubleheader tonight and a doubleheader tomorrow. And we'll be back after these messages. Coming up, we're going to be talking about the most unprecedented sweeps in major junior hockey history, and our juiciest rumors and our games to talk about tonight. We'll be back after these messages. We are back. Okay, this is one of the most unprecedented things we've seen in Major Junior Hockey in recent history. And this right here is a first in Canadian Hockey League playoff history. This right here, my friends, was one of the craziest in Major Junior Hockey history. And I'll say that right there, people, we're going to see, we've witnessed a very unique, once in a lifetime situation right here. So in the OHL last night, the London Knights swept the Oshawa Generals in the OHL championship, and they are going to the Memorial Cup. And the Moose Jaw Warriors complete the sweep of the Portland Winterhawks for their first ever Western Hockey League championship and a trip to the Memorial Cup. And what we got here, and the Volunteers of the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, or they call them Maritimes now. So the Drummondville Volunteers will represent the Quebec Maritimes Junior Hockey League this year's Memorial Cup. And the host city is Saginaw, Michigan. And the Saginaw Spirit is the host. And I'll say this is going to be fun for these 4 teams. And I've been to the Memorial Cup. It's a hockey festivity of fun. Tons of scouts, executives trying to see how is their investment, their stock portfolio, and will they become infamy, legends, whatever. They might see a potential future. And Easton Cowan from the London Knights, he is definitely like the MVP of the OHL, and he is going to be taking over Mitch Marner's spot next season. I wouldn't be surprised Easton Cowan will be a Maple Leaf full-time next season. I wouldn't be surprised because Mitch Marner just wrote a ticket out of Toronto, and we have had the latest mock trades for Mitch Marner of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Here are the realistic trades that Mitch Marner might go to. Chicago, the Leafs will acquire Oliver Moore, Kevin Korzystki, and a first-round pick in 2024, which is the 20th overall pick. The Vegas Golden Knights acquire Mitch Marner for Shea Theodore, a first-round pick in 2024. Boy, Vegas, goddamn, you're losing another first-round pick. And the Utah, whatever they're going to be called, they acquire Mitch Marner for, and the Maple Leafs acquire Alex Kerfoot, Maverick Lemieux, and a second-round pick in 2024. The Devils acquire Mitch Marner for John Marino, the defenseman, and a first-round pick in next year's NHL draft. And I'll say this, Easton Cowan will be a Maple Leaf this fall. I believe he'll be ready. And I don't know who's going to be winning the Memorial Cup this year, but it will come to the wire. I got to tell you, the Memorial Cup is an annual festivity of, it's a fun event. It's a fun event, and it helps the local economy all around throughout the region. And also, we will see a very fun tournament, and whoever wins this gets the rights of being the national champions of Major Junior Hockey. And we'll be right back after these messages coming up. We have a developing story of Brad Marchand speaking to the media and talking about tonight's games, and it's going to be staying alive or elimination. We'll be right back after these messages. We are back. Okay, now this is a developing story, is that Brad Marchand spoke to the media, and he could be questionable or could be playing in the potential elimination game 6, Florida Panthers, Boston Bruins. And Brad Marchand believes that Sam Bennett got away with one. And he also said that, opponents seeking to injure each other is just part of playoff hockey. And, Brad Marchand got a taste of his own medicine, that he's one of the most despicable players in the NHL, and like everyone's a hypocrite. Like you get your taste of your own medicine. It's karma. What comes around goes around. It's part of hockey. It's part of the culture. It's part of playoff hockey. Do I believe he's going to be playing? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see the anticipation for Brad Marchand to play. And like I said, this is going to this is going to ride on whoever wins this series. And if Marchand plays, it's a different story, and I believe that this will go to 7 games. But if it doesn't, Panthers, they've got the advantage. It's practically not over yet, but it depends on how the game is played as the result of a victory. Yeah, I mean, Brad Marchand is, they got to check out all the boxes, see if he's mentally for it. But if he's not, well, season's over for you, bud. Season is definitely over. And going back to the statistic area we were talking about, that 57 games played. 57 games have been played so far after games 1 and 2. That the visiting team has got the better odds of winning these games. But right now, we're going if one player can make a difference, the team makes a difference. It's that one impactful player and moment can change the momentum and outcome of a game in a series. And it's all factual and true. If you read the books and watch highlights in the history of any sport, basketball, hockey, football, baseball, one play can determine everything. You got to have the moment to own it, basically. You've got to have the moment to own it. Yeah, and we'll be back after these matches coming up. We'll be talking about tonight's matchup. And lastly, our juiciest rumors of the day. We'll be back after these messages. We are back. Okay, tonight's matchup, we've got a doubleheader for you guys. We have a awesome night of doubleheader hockey. So we've got a potential lead in the series and a potential staying alive or going home to the summer cottage. And like I said, we're going to see a potential lead change between the Canucks and the Oilers, and a potential elimination game or staying alive game between the Hurricanes and the Rangers. The first game I want to talk about is the Rangers and Hurricanes. So the Carolina Hurricanes are currently at a -160. Meanwhile, the New York Rangers are at +135. And this game is being played in Raleigh. Yeah, this series, everybody's expecting this one to go to 7. Just create more anxiety, more theatrics, because, they need something to watch on a Saturday night. And I could say this, the best team in the NHL is on thin ice right now, almost thin ice. Carolina Hurricanes, though, they're at home, and they can potentially pull off another comeback. First time we've seen a team that's been down 3-0 since the San Jose Sharks were up 3-0 against the LA Kings. The LA Kings came back in the first round, and then we saw Boston Bruins had a 3-0 lead, and the Flyers came back with 4 straight. I'm going to say that Carolina has got the better odds. And everybody wants to see a game 7 because they need the ratings. They need the revenue. It's a Saturday night. There's nothing on television, and they don't want to have a dark, cold night without hockey. But it's beautiful outside because you got another race coming up, horse race coming up, and and summer's coming around, and we got the over and under at 5.5. I'm going to say this will go over 5. And Carolina, to me, I'm going to go with the Hurricanes. They're going to tie the series up, and then we're going to see the conclusion of this this rivalry will close out this Saturday. We will have this wait and see. And I'm picking Carolina at home. They've got the track record, and also everybody would love to see a game 7 between, the coach who coached Carolina Hurricanes and Peter Laviolette winning the cup in 06, and Brad Brind'Amour, who was the captain of the Carolina Hurricanes in 06 and won the cup. We would love to see the changing of the guard and a changing of a new era. Okay, now let's talk about the 10 o'clock game on TNT as well. The Edmonton Oilers and the Vancouver Canucks. This series, it's been back and forth. And we've been hearing reports that Thatcher Demko could be in the lineup for the next round if the Canucks prevail, or possibly in game 6 or 7. It depends when it will happen. And we're looking at the Edmonton Oilers currently favorite at a minus 145 over the Canucks 125 plus. And the goals for over and under, it's 6.5. It's going to be barely there, just like last time. It was at 5 goals. I believe we're going to be subpar to it. And Edmonton, I think Calvin Pickard should stay in net for the Oilers. But Vancouver, I gotta say the Vancouver Canucks, they are they have the best record, one of the best records in the West. I got a feeling Vancouver will somewhat make this game's gonna be close. It will be somewhat close to overtime or close to the wire, like the other night it was 3-2. It would be a 1-goal game again. And I wouldn't be surprised that Vancouver gets one at home, then Edmonton gets one, and then game 7 it'll be a coin toss. And let's see who's going to be in net for this one. And tonight's game, I'm going to go Vancouver over Edmonton. I know it sounds corny and all, but Vancouver had the Oilers on the ropes, but Evan Bouchard got that last second goal with 30-something seconds left and got that win. They barely squeaked out of their barn. And I gotta say, Vancouver, it's their turn to win this one. I'm going Vancouver Canucks tonight, and then we'll have to see what happens on Saturday night. Okay, then, coming up, we'll be talking about the juiciest rumors in hockey, and then we're going to be done for the day. Okay, we'll be right back after these messages. We are back for the final topic of the day, our juiciest rumors of the day. Let's see here what we got here. The New York Islanders officially signed one of their top prospects, Maxim Tvechkov, to a 1-year deal and an entry-level deal. Smart move. And it's a 2-way deal. I wouldn't be surprised he makes almost 55, maybe 65% of the appearances as a New York Islander next season, but we'll have to wait and see right here. And the Toronto Maple Leafs are in the runnings for a new goaltender. They need to upgrade quickly, looking at, whoever's available, like a Jacob Markstrom, UC Soros, or Linus Ullmark, whoever fits the bill to make sure the Maple Leafs have a strong, well-filed roster for next season. And we've heard that the LA Kings re-signed David Redditch for a 1-year deal on a $1 million contract extension. And then the Columbus Blue Jackets could be trading one of their most expensive signees in their franchise's history. Johnny Hockey Gaudreau could be on the trading block this offseason. And I have to say, it sucks to see the Columbus Blue Jackets suck so badly. Only winning 1 playoff series in their existence. And they're in the middle of Ohio. It's the butt-end jokes of America because it's Ohio. And to me, I still don't get it to this day. Why did Johnny Gaudreau go to the Blue Jackets instead of going to the Devils or the Philadelphia Flyers? Why? The Blue Jackets have a great underrated nucleus team, but they just can't win a series. And we're talking about a $68.25 million contract that he signed on July 13, 2022 at 7 years. And it's crazy. I like for a guy like Johnny Gaudreau, we all thought, hey, him and Line and the rest of the cast of the Blue Jackets were going to be a perfect fit, but it turns out it was not the case. So in the last 2 years, so Johnny Gaudreau, as a Blue Jacket, 2 years into the 7-year deal, he has had 33 goals and 91 assists with 134 points in those 2 seasons alone. Johnny Gaudreau, people don't like, he's a playmaker, not a goal scorer. He's got the credentials, he's got the numbers, but is Columbus willing to trade an expensive player like that? I mean, it's backfired more than Pierre-Luc Dubois leaving Columbus for greener pastures in Winnipeg, and then he hated the Siberia, whatever Winnipeg is, and going to LA, making $8.5 million per, and he's not happy. Well, Columbus, on the other hand, that this franchise is poorly ran, and and there's a reason why nobody wants to go play in Columbus. It's in the middle of nowhere. Who the hell wants to play in the middle of Ohio? If I was an unrestricted free agent, I would never want to go play in the state of Ohio. Hell no. I'd rather go play places with no income tax and nice weather, like in Raleigh, Nashville, Tampa, South Florida, Dallas, when Houston gets there, Phoenix when they get their team back, Vegas, and anywhere in California and Seattle. But no thanks to Ohio. I would hurry back to go play in Detroit if I have to. Playing for the Red Wings is better than playing in the middle of nowhere in Ohio. And Ohio is, to everybody, the big a-hole of America. I know the people are friendly, but you can tell deep down that they hate playing and living in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, and also, Elias Pettersson, he's been having a soft playoff, and he's been invisible, and Rick Tocchet gave him the business. We all know that is a fact, and I've noticed it. And Alexander Barbarov from the San Jose Sharks, he's done. He's not going to resign, and they need he's a free agent, and he needs to move on because this team is going to be in a long rebuild. And Olofsson and Gergensen for the Buffalo Sabres, their UFAs, looks like they're done in Buffalo. And TJ Brody, he's gone from the Maple Leafs. And Seattle Kraken, they've been talking to Tom McLellan, Dan Bielsma, the former Pittsburgh Penguins coach who won the Stanley Cup in 2009. I really think Dan Bielsma will be – it's either – to me, if Carolina loses and if Rod Brind'Amour doesn't get his contract, I believe Seattle will either give Rod Brind'Amour a truck, says he's rich, biatch, or he's going to go, or Seattle's going to go into the farm in Coachella Valley and get Dan Bielsma so he can become the next coach of the Seattle Kraken. And we all been hearing Anthony Mantha. He did not bounce back, with Vegas, and he's on the verge of free agency. That's no surprise there. And we've heard that Leon Draisaitl could be walking. If this happens, Leon Draisaitl could be going to another division rival in the San Jose Sharks. Could you imagine Leon Draisaitl help being a teacher and mentor to Macklin Celebrini? San Jose needs help all around. And also the Sharks have great young talent. The market's coming back. And the Sharks have a very well compensated situation. But here's the thing, though. Would you be willing to take more money, but when it comes to taxes, from a contending team to a bottom-dwelling team in the San Jose Sharks. If I was Leon Draisaitl, I would probably, talk this over with my agent. And, he's in his final year of his 8-year contract extension. And, the Oilers, if I was Edmonton, I would get Leon Draisaitl signed July 1st. And, listen, the other thing too with Juicy is that the juicy thing is that playoffs can really distract on players who are having contract negotiations. Coaches need contracts and stuff. It's a huge distraction. Speaking of distractions, so we found out a little bit more intel on Valeri Nichushkin of the Colorado Avalanche. So we all know the players are pissed about him, drug test, but the drug test, finding a substance that was positive in the middle of the intermission, second period intermission. So what happened was that they found something in his blood or his urine that Valeri Nichushkin was throwing the wrench in the end of the second period, and he's currently at stage 3 of the players' assistant program. And he's got a no trade clause, add layers of complexity and to any potential trade discussions. He signed a 8-year extension at $49 million at 6.1 on average back about 2 seasons ago, and he won't be a UFA until 2030-31. Well, it's too bad that Arizona Coyotes don't exist anymore. They would definitely take on the contract and his problems, but any team will blackball him until they get a deal in place. But it's a waste of time and a waste of goddamn things. It's that Valeri Nichushkin, he definitely cost the Avalanche goal scoring prowess, but the Avalanche found a way to stay alive in last night's game. But Valeri Nichushkin, we hope that you get better, but you've got to learn your lesson. We all know that if this might be your last hurrah in the NHL, well, congrats on your career in the NHL and your 500 plus games. But if you have one more slip up, you're banned. You're going to get blackballed for the NHL. Get yourself clean. Get yourself reorganized, rejuvenated. No more temptations. No more drugs. Get your life together. And, and you get one more chance. But for him to get traded at this mark, I don't know if it's possible. Only an idiot organization will take on his problems. I would not go to California. I wouldn't go to Detroit, Utah. That's a possibility, but we don't know. Let's see what happens with Valeri Nichushkin. At the end of the day, he needs to get clean, sober, and help. And if he screws it up, he's going to go back to the KHL. All right, then. I'd like to thank my audience. Thank everyone supporting me for the show called Juicy Hockey with Gordo. I'm your host, Gordon Maxwell. We'll be back tomorrow talking about the juiciest results, who's staying alive or going home to the cottage for the summer. We'll be back tomorrow, and have a great day, and God bless.